Hello, Mario, and thank you for joining me today for this short interview. I am Sabina Gombach, and I am one of co-founders of Institute Brainspotting Slovenia, who is organizing 3 days workshop on psychotherapy of trauma with brainspotting. And we are happy and honored to be hosting you at that workshop.
Thank you, Sabina. Thank you to Brainspotting Slovenia for this interview and honoring me.
Thank you. Mario is a clinical psychologist and psychotherapist for more than 30 years of clinical experience in the field of healing trauma, international trainer, supervisor, founder and teacher of Alessia method, and the author of the book Beyond the Self, which I highly recommend to any therapist. Mario, you have been training therapists in brainspotting method since 2009. So how would you explain what is brainspotting?
Well, we could say that brainspotting is where you look affects how you feel. This is a very meaningful statement that try to convey the message that when we are experiencing any kind of experience, could be a painful or a pleasant experience, we feel it in the body, or we map this or any experience in the brain. And if anyone is just experiencing any kind of experience, and we suggest him or her to try to look at her right and check what's happening, look up to the front or to the left, we could differentiate different things. You know, almost every one of us could say that we can feel most in one of these eye positions to the other. So that means that David Grant discovered brainspotting in 2003 for casualty, you know, randomically. That an eye position is an entry access to any experience. So that's the way how we help a client to find the neural network where the experience is stored in the brain and in the body. When we say the brain, particularly the subcortical brain, same time we mean the body. What happens in the body happens in the brain. So it's a way to have the client to find this neural network where the experience is. And then we invite the client to be in a very focused mindfulness process, just observing and accepting what comes up. And this provides a very deep physiological healing, you know, because these trauma capsules, which we can find and access with looking for the eye position, are just waiting to give all the story that are kept inside.
What is the difference between talk therapy and brainspotting therapy?
Well, brainspotting is a neuro-experiential process. It's an approach that is uses the capacity of the brain for self-healing, you know. And when we are talking about the brain, we should differentiate between these main two areas of the brain. This one that is the subcortical brain, which is involved in survival and is involved in trauma, and is very highly connected with the body. And we talk about this neocortex, particularly this prefrontal area, which is the latest one in the evolution. Is more involved in rational analysis, language, and decision making, and consciousness. You know, this is more wired for growing the art creation, but it's very low. This one has the survival intelligence, and it's very fast, you know. When trauma, because we need to react very fast without thinking. This subcortex takes all the power of managing the situation. But then later, we know that dissociation is a post-traumatic effect. That means that these painful experiences are very frequently dissociated and stored in the body brain, deep brain. So this talking therapy is involving engaging this area of the brain, which is the neocortex. And we know anatomically this doesn't happen anatomical connections to the deeper brain and the body. So brain spotting allows us and allows the client to bypass this neocortex, this rational analytical thinking, to directly access the experience in our bodies and deep brain. And this provides the opportunity for any client to really embrace these painful experiences that were hidden inside of ourselves, and finally to be able to embrace our old truth, you know. And from embracing this old truth, all of us could awake and raise our lotus, our precious gift that comes after processing and digesting our pain.
What you would say that is the main difference for the client?
Well, for the client is different kind of things, you know. For the therapist, provides a way to neurologically attune with this limbic brain, which is kind of same thing to say to attune with the unconscious of the client, you know. And this provides a sense for the client to really feel they are seen in their unconscious or limbic apparatus, you know, which keeps these emotional experiences hidden and not understood normally in their current situations. So that's one difference. And another difference is just finally for them to really feel touched on their hidden experiences. And this part of selves that were not acknowledged, accepted, and treated in a well and respected way. But the latest gift for this kind of therapy is that the change is bodily felt. So we say that Brainspotting is a neurological approach with psychological consequences. So as we should say that our deepest sense of who we are stored and shaped in our bodies out of our consciousness. So this provides a change that we can feel in our bodies and really affect our sense of who we are in a very deep somatic sense of being and feeling.
Why would you recommend it for the therapists?
Well, for the therapists, has many advantages. One is that the sense of really feeling they are touching these deeper layers of the unconscious and these deeper layers of their clients. And you know, Brainspotting is an integrative approach that could be included or adapted to any previous background on the therapist. But finally, also implies a different attitude in front of the client. We we say that Brainspotting is a dual attunement model. That means that we put on the first plane the importance of the therapeutic relationship and the presence of the therapist.
Mm-hmm.
And this means also that we embrace the uncertainty principle, that to accept that we don't know nothing. You know, if we just take into account that this huge and amazing organ, that's the brain, has 1 quadrillion synaptic connections, is no sense that this area of our brains, our analytical brain, think or believe they know what's happening in this amazing, huge world, you know. So for therapists, it's important to sit on this uncertainty principle and accept that we don't know. But this is also the only way to really attune and to really provide an environment in the therapeutic relationship for the experience of the client to come up and to occupy this space, which I call the healing bubble, you know. So it means also for the therapist, I think, to really feel unburdened of any kind of sense of responsibility, or taking on their own shoulders the issues of the client. So maybe this is not so easy to explain here in this short time, but really practicing and embracing Brainspotting means also a different attitude in the therapist that takes more on their souls the idea that the brain has a self-healing capacity. And all we have to do is to hold and keep and help the client to access this self-healing capacity. This is also an advantage for the client because, you know, any Brainspotting process is felt by the client as that's coming up from the inside of themselves. So we really trust as therapists that the brain is wise, and the client's brain has its own wisdom, and we just convey this hope, this sense, and organize the therapeutic process to facilitate that the wisdom emerge from the inside out. Yeah.
Let's say a few words about the workshop. What are we going to learn at the workshop, Mario?
Well, any Brainspotting workshop is very practical, designed with a methodology that tries to give tools to the practitioners to really understand what is Brainspotting and to begin to practice as soon as possible. So this is organizing in the basic training is phase 1 and phase 2, which is 3 days each one. First one, they are going to learn 3 main ways to find out the brain spot. So we take use of this pointer to help the therapist to check the visual field of the client and to invite the client to sense where they feel the most any experience, and to find this relevant eye position, which is this entry door or access door to this deep neurobiology. So 3 main techniques in any level, any phase, and also how to work with resources. So the methodology is designed for in any training, 3 days training. Me as the trainer offer a demo. We normally do 4 demos in any phase, 3 for any technique, one for the working with the resources. And after this is a long discussion open discussion to explain what happens and to open a question and answer process. But then the participants should work in pairs, to practice any of these techniques. So any couple should first do the role of therapist, and then and the other one, the client, and then they change the role and they practice in a way that they should take at least a sense of feeling how is the process felt on their own, So it's very practical. After these practicums, also we open again a QA process of question and answer, any doubt, any experience. So it's very practical. It's meant to that after phase one, the attendants could have some resources to begin to practice,
So they can use it after the phase one in a clinical practice.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
This doesn't mean that they are experts, but they have the tools to begin to practice, begin to check and to take the taste of how to include Brainspotting in their practices, Well, for sure, it's very, very important that they then have any kind of support with you as trainers in practice and supervisors are there to help them after the trainings with any support or even supervision. But they can begin to use, and they should begin to use, because it's a new paradigm. And I know that for many practitioners means and implies a de-learning process also at the same time. But to answer your question, yes, they could begin to practice.
Okay. And the last question.
Yeah.
In a case we would need to organize the workshop online, what are your experiences so far with online teaching?
Well, it's very, very nice. It's wonderful, in fact, in some sense, even better than face-to-face, because it can sound incredible, but this pandemic opened for any of us, not for me because I was giving trainings online before, but for most of my colleagues was the first time, and we observed that how powerful is also to use and Brainspotting through video conference, so we at the same time create a very warm, safe space in this through video conference, but also will be very, very important that we are able to divide the groups in pairs, to go to the break rooms. And we normally, at least in Spain, we invite all practitioners from other trainings to be assistants, so any couple could have one person to assist and to act as kind of a coach on their practices, This is very intimate, very intimate. So it works very, very, very well. Very well.
Okay. Thank you, Mario. Do you want to say something before the end?
Well, just to say that, I'm also a trauma trainer in LSA method.
Yes.
And Brainspotting is very, very powerful. Is as powerful as the therapy that has this very simple tool on their hands. Is able to have the kind to find these deeper layers and then to hold the process, So we say that Brainspotting is a trauma-informed approach, but it's not approach to train in trauma. So it's very important that the practitioner also has an understanding of the phenomenon of trauma, which normally in the phase one I use some hours to explain a frame of this phenomenon, you know. So finally, I will invite any therapist to take the taste of this approach, as it's so powerful, as at the same time simple but powerful, to help to provide a deep sense of healing for their clients.
Mario, thank you. Thank you for your time and answers, and we are looking forward to your teachings.
Yeah, if any people that are listening this interview want to have a first connection with Brainspotting, this is David Graham book on Brainspotting. You know, this is able to be bought in Amazon. You know, if some other people want also to know my work and my way of thinking, as you say, this is my book, Beyond the Self, Healing Emotional Trauma and Brainspotting, which can be also bought in Amazon. So this is a very, very important readings before or after this kind of training.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Okay.
Sabina.
Bye.